Suraj Yengde of Harvard University puts out a Hindu-phobic tweet. It reads, and I quote, "Hinduism is a ploy to keep the backward classes permanently lower." But this is far from the first time that Suraj Yengde has done this. The tweet received flack from many netizens, including the US-based Hindu-American Foundation, for defaming Hindus and for his inherently prejudicial views. The executive director of the Hindu-American Foundation, Suhag Shukla, expressed concern that the tweet demonized Hindus and opened the door to Hindu-phobic sentiments, especially in US college and university campuses. Now check out this tweet by Suraj Yengde. It reads, and I quote, "Hindus are sick people of India. It's their religious books who train the mind." Sadly, Yengde is not the only scholar who denigrates Hindus on a regular basis. Rutgers professor Audrey Truschke regularly publishes Hindu-phobic tweets as well. In one, she referred to a Hindu deity as a, and I quote, "misogynist pig and uncouth." Her tweets garnered so much concern that a petition was made by Rutgers students. It stated that Professor Audrey Truschke demonizes Hinduism and regularly makes anti-Hindu comments. Now, Yengde and Truschke are unfortunately not the only academicians who regularly publish Hindu-phobic content. Professor of Peace and Conflict Research at Uppsala University, Ashok Swain, made a cow urine comment in a tweet. Now, this cow urine taunt is often used by radical Islamists to make derogatory remarks on Hindus. Coming back to Suraj Yengde. He's published derogatory comments on Hindus multiple times and on multiple occasions. If you scroll through his social media, Suraj Yengde's anti-Hindu stance is nothing new. But the problem is that his tweets seem to have more of a personal vendetta tinge rather than objective arguments, credible facts, and/or research. And one can't even argue that Yengde speaks for the Dalits, who have no doubt been a targeted community. This is because Suraj Yengde, who by the way is a Harvard fellow, makes these extreme and disparaging statements towards all Hindus as a whole. But Yengde seems to forget just a few things. First of all, the Dalit community are among India's most staunchest, steadfast, unswerving Hindus, many of whom have strongly supported Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the last election. Yengde also seems to forget that PM Modi himself is from a poor section of society and comes from the OBC community, and that India has had Dalit chief justices, chief ministers, cabinet ministers, and veteran political leaders in senior positions. This includes President Ram Nath Kovind of India, who is the second Dalit president of the country after President K.R. Narayanan. Let's just take a look at some of Suraj Yengde's flat-out derogatory comments. He writes, and I quote, "Can one be a Hindu without torturing Dalits, Muslims, and Christians?" Yes, I'm a Hindu and I've definitely not done that, Suraj. Yengde also writes that, and I quote, "The Hindu majority is lazy work of the British census." Wow. The problem is that a Harvard fellow like Suraj Yengde, who is also a verified prominent public figure on social media and also holds a position at Harvard University, is only furthering views of pure hatred and contempt. And speaking of Harvard University, as per the university's diversity and inclusion policy, the university website states, and I quote, "Together we strive to create an environment that values diversity, promotes an inclusive culture, and establishes a profound sense of belonging for each member of the community." So how is it that Harvard supports Mr. Suraj Yengde's unobjective and lamentable published comments, which are passed off as academic freedom and as scholarship? Sure, it's fine to have your own personal views, but when those views are published in a manner of pure hate for an entire community as a whole, number one, action needs to be taken, and number two, there should be no room for such people in academia, especially in college campuses where Hindu students would undoubtedly be targets of harassment and mistreatment. Please share this video. This is a topic that needs to be known and spoken about. For News 9, this is Priyanka Deo signing off. Namaste.